Hi friends, my name is Sat Gupta and on behalf of IMPRINT IAS, I will be taking a comprehensive strategy on how to do mapping. First of all, we'll see what all actually constitutes mapping and what all books or other reference material we need to cover for it. So there are two broad features. One is the physical aspect and other is the political aspect of mapping. Physical aspect covers mostly the geographical factors, salient features which are mountain systems, river systems, different terrains, volcanic systems, tectonic plates, marine geography. Whereas the political geography, that system constitutes of countries, their boundaries, their resources, the human geographical aspect, and other topics like agriculture. To start mapping, you need to have an atlas, Oxford, Orient Logman, or any other complete atlas with certain descriptions and extra maps. Now, you would also need to have a reference material or some value addition material so that you can learn descriptions which are attached to various places. It will help you give a comprehensive idea on what places and how do they stand for. Alongside it, you would need to consult current affairs in order to be up to date with all the places in news. And it could also be other features like earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, which have been asked time and again in prelims as well as in mains. Now, this video is not to help you revise your physical features or political aspects. This video will tell you more about how to prepare mapping. It will give you tip, tips and strategies on how to go about doing mapping. Now, moving on to how to start mapping. Mapping is an integrated and comprehensive exercise. If you try to do separate parts separately, it will only become very complex and you will end up confusing most of the things. So it is best that you take the whole aspects once. It is best that you do all the features once, take the overview, and then try to integrate them, such as if you have done mountain ranges and you're very confident with it, you can also do the river systems running through it. For example, if you know Himalayas and Himalayan ranges, you will also be well versed with the Indus river system which is flowing through it. To do mapping, you need to create a base which is a reference from which you will connect all the other aspects. This base has to be political map of any region. Next, you should always practice the physical features which are overlapping the political map of the same region. You might recall there have been questions asked specifically which integrate both the physical aspects as well as the political aspects, such as river flowing through states, mountain cutting across many states, seas which are outlying countries. Hence, you should always keep the political map as your base and then start to practice any physical features which are overlapping them. I will put this to practice on various aspects such as mountain ranges, river systems, industries, and resources. Now, in order to do mountain systems of Europe, let's just start with the political map of Europe. Now, to memorize political maps, it can be haphazard or it can be orderly. What you need to do is divide the whole of the region into north, east, west, south, or subdivisions like north, northeast, southwest, uh, or even cut it up into blocks, say squares, circles, or rectangles. What this does, it gives you a common framework, say north, east, west, and south. You will always start from this starting point on any map, and then you will proceed that what northern region in this map specifies. For example, North region, extreme north region in Europe will specify Scandinavia. The western region, extreme western region will specify the Iberian Peninsula, which consists of Spain, Portugal. And now you can extrapolate this framework to any region. But it would be best that you remember the general shape of that region. Say the shape of Europe, it resembles a gun, which I have shown in a bit. The shape of Europe, which resembles a gun. Now this shape has to be put under the markers of longitudes, latitudes, Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, Arctic Circle, and Equator, etc. These markers are important because often they are asked in the exam. Now that we have a general idea of the political map of Europe, we can move on to overlap the physical aspects, such as the mountain range systems, over this. For example, Pyrenees, they separate the Iberian Peninsula from the rest of Europe. Alps separates Italy from the rest of Europe. Italy itself has Apennines. When Alps are extended to Eastern Europe, they're called Dinaric Alps, so on and so forth. Also, you can think of mountain ranges and in which country do they lie. Like UK has Pennines. This creates a holistic picture on mountain ranges as well as the political map of Europe. Now you can relate not only political map to mountain ranges but vice versa mountain ranges to political map. For example, the boundary of Spain along France runs along Pyrenees. Moving on to river systems. Now I've taken example of India. You could take an example of any other continent. Now, river systems, the easiest way to do a river system is taking the river and its tributaries and the whole of its watershed area. This now in this framework, you would be able to link the river, its course, and the nearby terrain, no matter where it crosses. May it crosses through the mountain ranges, it crosses through the plains, and then it distributed, and then it gets distributed. For India, it is must that you do at least top 10 rivers, which I mentioned in the slide. Again, to do a river system, what you must do is take its main branch, map it through the political map of India, or whatever river you take, map it through the political map of the region, divide it like states in India, countries in the continents. These small segments can be easily learned. What would be more helpful is to remember the general shape of the river. After this, take the left bank tributaries and the right bank tributaries and chronologically or spatially arrange them. Whichever is the first tributary to join the river, second tributary to join the river, third tributary to join the river. And you can also create acronyms for them. For example, the acronym for right bank tributaries of Ganga would be YA-SO-PU. From here, we move on to resources. I have taken a specific resource, iron, which is one of the most important resource. But in general, uh, you can make a framework how to approach resources. The major distinction is metalliferous and non-metalliferous. Here, what we are doing is that we are applying theoretical knowledge to mapping, as we have learned that there are metalliferous resources and non-metalliferous resources. It may seem haphazard in the beginning, but if you divide large chunks of it, you will find that mostly metalliferous resources are found majorly across two belts in the world, which is high latitudes, the low latitudes. As in some point of time, it was a big Gondwana land, and then in these points, when the Gondwana land moved or the land separated, the hotspots which generate metalliferous resources, they deposited in a certain region. In a similar fashion for India, when the Indian plate passed over the reunion hotspot, it created a large belt of metalliferous resources. Another way how you can remember these resources are to link them to a type of rock. For example, some minerals are found only in laterite soil or sedimentary rock or igneous rocks or metamorphic rock. It is well known that laterite soil or laterite rock has a lot of aluminum deposits. Next, generally what questions are asked is that you need to know the top areas which has the highest production or the highest resources of that particular metal. You should be always be aware of what metals or materials or other resources which are being displayed currently in the news, because that is of prime importance and that is what is most likely to be asked in the exam. Now, let us take example of an industry. Now, industries are basically set up out of push-pull factors. These can be broadly known as raw materials or pull-off market or labor, connectivity, and even government policies. Now, I have taken example of software, but there are many industries like Footloose Industries, which have very little push-pull factors and they can be located anywhere. Here also, you need to find a pattern, and to find a pattern, you need to find out which is the most important factor which is influencing the location of the industry. Once you find that out, it is easy to apply, and you will find that generally it is also correct. Now, I've taken example of certain UPSC questions, both mains and pre. But the more important aspect would be how to internalize mapping. Coming back to how we started the video, now political map has been told to use as a reference. It is because political maps are definite, more or less, and physical maps can be easily superimposed on them. It is also how every resource, be it mountains, rivers, resources, markets, the analysis of everything is now being done country wise. So it is always important that all of these features should be done according to political map of the country or of the region. To internalize mapping, you need to practice it, not just memorize it, learn by names. You need to practice it through hand, make it in the space limit as well as the time limit. And for memorizing the basics of it, you can also start with the evolutionary process from where the resource came, or so from where actually the river came. For example, when I say that there are the Cordilleras are young fold mountains and they are formed due to movement of plate tectonics. Now you can easily grasp that if the young fold mountains are being formed along the continental margins, then it is definitely the direction of the movement of continental plates will be along the margins. After this, you need to go back to your reference books and take out a lot of data which are related to places. It will help you get a whole idea of how the place is, how the different features merge together and form the climate of it, the market of it, the culture of it, and you can also identify each place with its unique characteristics. To give a parting note that mapping and maps and diagrams, these are appendages or these are extra value addition to your answer. Generally, these should not replace the main content of your answer. You cannot say that you made three maps but you did not write anything, because these are a value addition and they can never substitute your main answer. Thank you for being with me.